What's up, people? We are back, episode 71, Act 2, the podcast. How are y'all? Episode 71.
71.
How you doing?
I had a difficult time.
Do it again.
I was trying to do 4 and 3, 71, but then just 5 and 2.
Act 2, the podcast, episode 71. We are back, people. Y'all should be catching up on all these episodes. They've been dope titles and dope, well, not even mean to say titles, but they've been dope content. Yeah, dope topics. That's what I was looking for. The word just slipped my mind. But they've been dope topics. So y'all should be catching up on that. And to catch up on that, y'all can catch us on at2thepodcast.com. Y'all can catch us on Spotify. Y'all can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Breaker, Anchor, Google Podcasts, TikTok, Radio Public, and you can catch us on Twitter now too.
Ow, you be tweeting?
A little bit.
Tweet.
But it's your boy International Walt.
And it's your girl, Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
Let's get into it. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm good.
Okay. Elaborate.
No! I was waiting.
How are you?
Waiting. I am doing well. Mentally, I'm an 8. You know, I feel good. I feel good. Mentally, I'm an 8. I got some things going on in my life right now, and I'm a little, I don't want to say anxiety, because anxiety derives from angst, which derives from fear. A little apprehensive, but I'm excited. But yeah, so I'm an 8. I'm feeling good.
Okay. What's work like?
Work is an 8. It's busy, really busy, really busy, but I won't complain. It is what it is. It's work.
Okay. Finances?
Finances are a 10. I have no complaints about finances. I'm going
that should
to
make me hot under the collar. Damn.
But yeah, I feel good. I don't have no complaints about finances. You got complaints about finances?
No, I ain't got no complaint. Ain't my turn.
All right. But yeah, 10.
Physicality.
Physicality, I'm a 9. I'm gonna say I'm a 9.
Meaner?
Yes.
Nueve.
Been making some changes in my life. Don't want to, people. I don't want to speak to like no fitness journey or no diet, none of that kind of stuff. But I'm just taking some baby steps to make the changes that I want to see in my life, and I feel it's making me feel good. Right now, my body kind of hurts so good because we did a little bit of workout a couple days ago, and feeling the effects of it, but it hurts so good because I know it's for a good cause, and I'm approaching this stage in my life differently than I have in the past, and I feel good about it. Yeah. Be
that change.
Yeah. How are you?
I am.
No. How are you?
I'm good. Mentally, I'm an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Just there, not up, not down, just. An 8.
8 is a good place to be.
Work kind of jumped because the day before yesterday, work was like a 5. But now work is back to, I would say, like a 7. So the fact that it's in ascension is a good thing.
You have great forehead skin.
Cool.
How's finances?
Finances is, I'm gonna go with an 8 since you go with a 10.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8.
How you feeling physically?
Physically, I feel good. I mean, I'm a little sore, but it's a good sore. I feel good. My spirit feels good.
Is this something you want to share today?
About?
Well, what's the number? You didn't give us a number.
Oh, for what? Physicality?
Yeah.
Physicality, I would say I'm a 9.
So you're 8. No, you said you're 8, 7, 8, 9.
Are you listening?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to rewind in my head.
It wasn't that long ago.
Is it something you want to share today?
About what?
I don't know. You like Mr. Cool up here with the fly shades on. I'm just saying. I thought maybe you had an announcement or something coming on.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Wows and woes.
You looking fly to me. I just
Jesus
was checking.
Christ.
Want to turn the camera off and
no.
Okay. Wows and woes. So a wow for me, I'll say this maybe not a while for y'all, but for me, I wasn't feeling too good at the start of this week, and I took a day off. And that, for me, was a while. The while wasn't that I wasn't feeling good. Like, I was not feeling my best, but I never take off. And I am, I'm not one of them people that's like, oh, gotta be for the company. I don't take off because I want to use my PTO time for what I want to. Vacation, days off, whatever. So I hold on. I don't call out because of that. Not like at the end of the year, I want to save time for anything. But I put me first and was like, you know what? It is what it is. You planning and saving time. Like, don't get me wrong. I hope, vacations and all that stuff that we had planned come to fruition. But, I really hope that God puts us in a situation where PTO time won't be a factor. I'll be able to go on vacation when I want to, and that won't be an issue. Mm-hmm. But that was a while for me. I was just proud of myself that I took that time for myself. But I didn't sleep all day. I just chilled and relaxed, and I didn't need to be looking at a computer all day. Mm-hmm. So that was my wow.
Woes.
And I don't have too many details about it because, I kind of detached myself just to not have that mental trauma in my head. But, the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York, just hearing that in 2022, still, that's all I can say. Just still.
As opposed to last year? Or as opposed to
1952.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't know what you was going with. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like,
as opposed to 2021, that didn't make sense.
No, I mean, it's like, it was happening last year, the year before. But still, even to think now, and in 20 anything, still. So, condolences to the families, and I read something that somebody wrote, I don't even remember who it was, but it was like, just imagine living to be in your 80s through all the things that you lived through, the Jim Crow era and all the other things that have happened over the last 80 years of your life, and in 2022 you get killed in a mass shooting, some racist, idiot who's specifically looking for that. Like, and again, I don't even have many details, not to be ignorant, but y'all know how I try not to let all that stuff seep into my head and get into my spirit and my heart, my chest be hurting. So, that was just the whoa, like, damn, still. Like, cool. Still.
That's so cool.
Yeah. What about you? Wows for this week?
Wows is just finding, oh, that's a doggy. Oh, just finding, I was like, what is walking? Just finding inspiration within myself to put out positive stuff in the morning when I wake up to start my day. Just to, put positivity into the world, into the zeitgeist, and it makes me feel better. And I like thinking about stuff in the morning and that kind of, and how I want to project my day to be. So just finding inspiration in myself to do that is a wow for me.
I like it. I enjoy your inspirational messages.
Cool. Whoa, I don't have no woes this week.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't have no woes this week. Even though work was a 5, I don't have no woes.
Well, I thought you said this week it was a 7.
No, I said day before.
Oh, a few days ago. Right, duh.
She's not listening.
No, I am.
It wasn't that long ago that I
you
said
said
that.
The other day,
Probably
and I was
7
thinking.
minutes.
I was thinking it last week, but
even though I said the other day.
Well, it would make sense it's not a woe today because you feel better about it today. It had a spike, so that's good. But that's good that you feel in that space to not have any, woe. So I'm proud of you. You celebrated something special this week.
Go ahead, tell him.
It was his daddyversary. He's been a dad for 24 years. He doesn't like my word that I use. All my friends know when they're
trying to be a dad.
You became a father
right.
24 years ago. Let's just say that. I know, and you've expressed to the people you're working on having a better relationship with your daughter. I'm proud of you in that space. I'm proud of you.
I just know how that comes off and sounds, and I just want to be authentic and transparent. I have a good relationship with my daughter, but I would like it to be great. And I haven't always had the chance because of my situation, which is totally on me, to be, you know, to be there like a dad should be. So yeah, I'm still trying.
Right, and I appreciate the transparency. His daughter, his only child, turned 24 years old, so he has been a father for 24 years. All my friends know when their oldest children, I think, because that's when it's more relevant, turns, has a birthday. I wish them a mommy-versary too. Like, that's the anniversary of them being a mom. How long they been a mom? So I wish them a happy
First time I ever heard it, but okay, yeah. I'll take it.
I should copyright that. I should coin that word. I don't think I've ever seen anybody else say it, so I'm gonna look into that. All right.
I just feel like I have years to come to have that kind of accolade.
I mean, whether you want to celebrate it or not.
No, I appreciate you, and I appreciate always you celebrating me. That never gets old, so I appreciate you. Okay. To a darker note.
Oh, wow.
Mommy Dearest and Daddy Dearest. Well, we both got mommy issues. We both got daddy issues. Let's talk about it.
Wow. You caught me off guard with that one.
Issues with a parent. What parent and why?
I probably can start with my dad, who is probably the worst situation, but the easiest to discuss because I don't want to say it's no longer an issue, but it's a detachment, a permanent detachment. It's weird because if you knew me growing up, you probably wouldn't be completely surprised, but there may be some surprise to the fact that I don't have a relationship with my dad, because I was daddy's girl growing up. If you see my dad a lot of times, you probably seen me with him, or us, meaning my sisters, with him. My mom.
Which is how I knew them.
Yeah, my mom, always worked, and her shift was like in the evening time. So she worked from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. not always, but from the time I was 12 for 25 years or so. Prior to that, she worked regular daytime jobs and was home. But for, teenage years, that was our life. My dad was very strict, but he was strict, but it was like a facade because he was evil in the sense that he did things that he wasn't supposed to. And I don't want to put other people's business out there. No. I get that. Yeah, people things that he wasn't supposed to. He was, my mom had a volatile relationship. And he just wasn't a good person. And the weird thing is I kind of always knew it, but I never knew it to the extent that it was.
Did you really?
That he wasn't a good person?
Like when I was coming around, y'all was young, y'all seemed like y'all had a decent relationship. But at the time, did you, like when you think back now in hindsight, did you have an inkling then that he might have not been as good as he said he was? Not knowing to the extent that you know today, but would you just know, like, this is a facade? Like, you know that in hindsight, but in the moment did you know? Okay, so you ever know of somebody, like, their thoughts and their mindset just isn't right, but you don't know. So I guess that I knew that, like, his way of thinking about things wasn't good. But I can't say I knew, like, there were certain actions that he did. And maybe that was me giving benefit of the doubt, because it's hard to believe that. Or it's hard to think that, but it's like once you find something out, it's not as big of a surprise, because you think, like, I knew this person, it's something, you knew they were capable of it. That's the word. But it still comes, so I can't say I knew that he was doing things that he was, but in hindsight, I always knew, I think, to some extent, I knew he was capable. So nevertheless, that relationship is detached. And it isn't, so it just isn't there. So it's weird because I don't have daddy issues, I think, in the sense of missing my dad. I wish sometimes that I had a dad. He could never be my dad. Like, I don't have any yearning to reconnect or to fix
like there's nothing to fix. That's a dead situation.
How would you think the way your childhood was is a direct reflection of who you are today, as far as your relationship with him? Like, do you think, not necessarily, you know, the ending result, but as you were a kid, like just your relationship with him, the back and forth, how you grew up, do you think that has a direct reflection of how you are, how you look at things today?
Yes and no. To be honest, you know, it's weird because it's one of them things where despite all his wrongs, there are some things that my dad instilled in me that I think, you know, were positive things. Like, and this might sound really weird. Something as small as like littering. I hate when people litter. Like, I just feel like as an adult, even kids, and I will tell y'all, my kids, the Fab Five, my nieces and nephews, they are horrible with littering. And I'll be ready to wring their necks. Like, I will make them pick up the tiniest piece of trash because that was something that we just weren't allowed to do. Like, that was instilled in us as a kid. Now, I will tell you, this is where I say my dad, his way of thinking, like, we might got hit. I don't want to say a beating, but we might get hit for something like that. So it's like one of them things where it was like a good lesson or good value to instill in your children, but his way of enforcement was just raw off, you know. So it's certain things like that. Biting our nails, like I when I see adults bite their nails, I think to myself, they're going through something, they're stressed, or maybe they just don't know, but it looks ugly. We weren't allowed to bite our nails. And as a young lady, it does. Your hands look ugly when you bite your nails. But then guess how it was enforced in us? Our hands would get beat if we bit our nails. So it's like little things like that that I appreciate that he taught us.
So that's two negative things that you took from that. What's two positive things that you would say you took from that relationship?
So I can say, although, you know, in my older teenage years, we talked about this before, I may have been slightly promiscuous as an older teen, but I can say him being as restrictive as he was in my, you know, younger teen years, in hindsight, I appreciate it because my mom wasn't the disciplinarian. So, you know, again, despite his proclivities and being the person who he was, you know, those restrictions help. It's one of those things, damned if you do, damned if you don't, because when they talk about girls who parents are so strict and as soon as they get freedom, they go buck wild, that was me. But I can't blame that on him because, you know, once I was 18 out the house, I was on my own. I was responsible for my own actions. So I had to take accountability for that. But leading up to that point, the things that I didn't do, you know, he was that person, that disciplinarian that set those boundaries and didn't allow that. Also in terms of like hygiene and stuff, like, you know, he was that person, you know, my mom, again, she wasn't home. So, you know, just growing up, like hygiene was essential. Like that was one of them things. And I guess as an adult, you think to yourself, like everybody just knew that. But then I realized there are some kids that just don't wash their ass if it's not enforced. But so that was just something, hygiene was something that was enforced as well from
you grew up in a 2-parent household, which in our neighborhood was far and few between. Did that feel different? Like, did you notice that it just felt different as a kid, being as though my mom and my dad is here regardless of what they are, and I'm around a bunch of people who just have a dad or just have a mom?
No,
or just have a grandma?
No, because it's like when you're in it, it doesn't feel different. You don't realize that it's something out of the norm because it is your norm. Now there was one house across the street from us that had
far and few between.
Yeah.
Within the neighborhood.
So that's
There's
what I
people
mean.
that had dads and moms in the same house, but not everybody.
Right. It just didn't feel strange because that was our norm. And to be honest, I didn't look at it as a good thing. Like, and I guess because I didn't realize the negative connotation that was put on single parent households. It wasn't like a conversation that you had as kids. Like, you just knew some people lived with their moms. I don't know if I knew any people that just live with their dads, but it was like you just knew some people only live with their moms or live with their grandmoms, or the few people, like you said, that live with both. For me, I didn't understand that it was a societal thing that was looked at as being good because I didn't want my parents to be together.
Right.
And it was something that I sternly to this day believe. My mom was raised in an era where it was like, you know, once you're married, you stay married, you stick no matter what. And she had this mentality of, you know, I want my kids to be raised in a 2-parent home because it was something that was out of the norm. But for us, it did more harm than good having my dad there. And this is outside of, you know, just in considering their relationship, I would always say, I would have rather seen my mom and my dad separate but happy than see them live the miserable life that they lived together. They didn't do it.
In the moment?
Yeah, I knew that as a kid.
Okay,
it was like,
but you didn't want them to be together.
It was like, please, like, just y'all hate each other.
Right.
Like, that's what it felt like to me. Y'all hate each other. Like, just leave each other alone and, you know, we'll live with my mom, go see my dad, I guess, maybe, I don't know. But hopefully my mom will be happy. Hopefully, you know, if we go see him, he'll be happy. But together in this house, y'all hate each other and it's miserable. So for me, I didn't look at it as like a good thing because of our scenario.
So in one sentence, how would your father-daughter relationship affect you negatively? Like from that to who you are today?
You know,
in a sentence.
It had an adverse effect where it made me want to find a man that was everything he wasn't. So I can thank him for being a piece of shit because it made me know that I want everything that he is not.
How did that relationship affect you positively?
You know,
I'm not talking about like, because I know where you're going. Try to compartmentalize and just think about your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, I can say as a child, I always felt like there was like this sense of protection.
Okay.
So that was, you know, always there. And I will say this too, like my mom and I had a tumultuous relationship as a teenager. And in some ways, I used to feel some guilt because like he was my protector, but in a way that would be hurtful to her, which was never what I wanted. Like I didn't want her to be mean and want to do the things that she was doing to me, but then him and protecting me, you know, would harm her. And it was like, I don't want that. Like it was just a very weird dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he did give me that sense of like, I wasn't scared of nothing or nobody. Like I knew no matter what harm he did to us in the house that he was going to protect me. Like he came, I remember this boy slapped me in 7th grade and this boy played basketball. He was probably 6 feet tall in the 7th grade. And I remember my dad had him pinned up against the wall and everybody was like, oh. But so it was always like that sense of protection in a sense where that's why I was like this, I can't think of the character, but like this two-faced character where it was like you were the villain and the redeemer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at home you were one way, but in the street,
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type stuff.
Yeah, so it was weird. It was like always that sense of protection. So despite his wrongness, you know, that was one thing I always felt like a man was. That's probably the only thing that I can kind of think of that like I wanted to have in a man and feeling protected.
So before adolescence, what was your relationship like with your mom? What was that like growing up?
I adored my mom. Like, I felt like, oh my God, that just made me emotional. Because I always think about the bad times, but I never really thought about like the prepubescent days. It's weird because in hindsight, it's weird the way, and I don't know, of course we'll talk about your relationship. I don't know if boys think like this, but I thought my mom was the best at everything. And I laugh at myself as an adult because I think like, I thought my mom was the smartest person in the world. I thought my mom had the best handwriting. Like I loved the way she would write cursive. I thought my mom knew how to sing. Like, you know how like the stereotypical, Saturdays when well, I don't know if white parents do it, but black moms would put on music and, they would clean the house. Now, it wasn't always like a big house cleaning day. She would do that times when she was like mad at my dad too, and would have, the music blasting. And for some reason, like I just thought she was the best thing in the world. Like I just thought she knew. I used to think like, wow, she could be a singer one day. My mom can't sing worth crap. Neither can I, but I just thought she was the best thing in the world. And I don't know.
Because that's all you knew, so you thought, I don't see a lot of women write, so she's the best at it. Or I don't see a lot of women do whatever she's doing, so she's the best at it.
Yeah, and I thought...
it was like your first-hand information.
Exactly. Like, what did I have to compare it to other than her? And of course, if your mom's helping you with your homework in 2nd and 3rd grade, she's the smartest person in the world.
Even though they can be struggling, you don't know that.
Like, she better know how to help with 3rd grade homework. But yeah, that was the thing with her. I just felt like she was, so smart. And my mom was never like the doting, loving type, but she took care of us. Like, our hair was always done, our clothes was always clean. I don't think I realized, I kind of thought we had a little bit of money when I was younger. Like, I don't think because my mom always worked like 2 jobs at some point until she got a better job where she only had to work 1. But like,
so well taken care of, never missed a meal, but not handing out a lot of hugs and kisses.
Right.
Not a lot of praises, not a lot of I'm proud of you, not a lot of...
My mom doted on me in the sense of like, and I think I have it here, like she, I was very smart in school, and, she had a photo of every certificate. So she was proud of me in that sense. Like,
but was it ever said? Was it ever said to you? Was it ever said, I love you, I'm proud of you? Was it ever said, come sit with me, how was your day?
No, I mean, maybe I'm proud of you or something like that. Maybe. I think that it was just expected that, I got good grades because I always did. Award ceremonies, I would get every award. I just always did. And she always, I don't think she said it, but I could see it, like, on her face that she was always proud. She was always excited. She, kind of bragged about me, like, to family and stuff like that. So, but my mom was not the how was your day kind of mom. Like, I will never forget, and this is why I ask our kids about their day and just let them talk incessantly about their friends and stupid stuff that I do not care about. But I let them because I will never forget me coming home and like telling my mom about something. I don't want to hear that crap. You've been with your friends all day. Don't come home talking about them. And it was like, Dad, like, I can't tell you about my day. So we never had that relationship where like she gave me girl talk or, advice about friends or that kind of, like, it was never really that. But she was a nice mom. Like, I remember friends coming over. Like, my mom was kind of like the mom where everybody thought she was like so great because when people would come over, she was the nice mom, treats and just that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So just looking back, that's you gotta help me with this word. Prepubescent. So fast forward, where would you say, looking back, that relationship started to go sour? Like, wow. Was it a certain thing, or was it a season? Was it an age?
Yeah, I think, and this is where I've learned later in life, and just recently, I'm not going to act like I knew this a long time, to extend grace to her, because I had to start thinking, I started thinking about the time in my life where our relationship did start to go downhill, and not just think about myself, but other things that were going on. So my mom had my youngest sister, Sierra, when I was 12. I was in the 7th grade. And my mom was always, I'll say, the sole provider. My dad had jobs off and on, but my mom always had a job. So she had Sierra when she was 12, and that's when she started working at the job that she ended up being there for 25 years. And I really feel like she checked out. Like, she put so much into work, taking care of other people's kids, and I think she enjoyed just not being home, which put a lot of responsibility on me because I had to take care of my sisters. I had to make dinner. I was taking care of home in the sense of, feeding, helping with their homework, hair, that kind of stuff, because we would leave for school. She would leave to go to work at 1 o'clock or whatever. She worked 2 to 10. She would come home. She would be home by 10:30. So she just wasn't there. But I think at that period of her life, she really checked out. The relationship between her and my dad became even more tumultuous because of whatever they were going through. I think part of it, he might have felt some kind of envy of her not being home. And I think me turning into a teenager, typical teenage attitude and stuff like that, and her, it just didn't mix, and I felt some resentment towards her. So I know I was disrespectful at times, as I got older, her telling me to do stuff, and it's like, you ain't never here, like, you ain't here, like, don't be coming and checking me about stuff. I'm taking care of your kids all day. I can't participate in no after school activities and blah 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 blah. So we just really, really clashed, and I remember that being sort of like the precipice of the downfall of our relationship.
But aren't you entitled to that? Even though you're a child and you talk about grace, like, that's not your problem. It's to take care of, you're supposed to be a kid, so it's not your problem. Although you can look back and say that now, for whatever reason, but that's not your problem, is to be a 12-year-old, to have to step up into mommy and to be a mommy. And I know because of the love you have for your sisters is why you stuck in there and did those things and did their hair so they can go out looking nice and all that stuff. Because if they didn't, they would look like their mom wasn't there. Well, so I mean, you can look, but that's not like your responsibility. It's not what you were supposed to be doing.
Well, it was my responsibility because that's what I was made to do. So should it have been? Probably not, but it was my responsibility. And the reason why I say I have in my mind extend grace to her is because I realize now that I just, as a teenager, I just felt like my mom hated me. Like, in my mind, you couldn't have told me any different.
Hold up, but the pushback on that is that no 12 or 13-year-old should be taking care of kids.
No, I didn't say it. You're right. They shouldn't be.
Right. So
but you said that's not my responsibility.
Yeah, so
but it was my responsibility. It shouldn't have been, I agree. But it was.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. You're right. No 12 or 13-year-old should be. And I shouldn't have been, but I was, because that was my responsibility. I mean, now, again, it's not like my dad wasn't there, but he's a dad. We're girls, so it was what it was. But and the reason why I say I started to look back at things and just think about certain things, I think about the way she was taking care of herself. Like, my mom, when younger years, I think about the times when, I would see her go to the hair salon, and she wasn't like a every 2-week hair salon like some moms were. But I think about the times I would see her go to the hair salon. She would come home with a new, stacks in her hair or something. And I started to think, like, when she had my sister, I can just remember things changing in her life, changing in the way she took care of us. Like, it was just different. I look back, my sisters and I were talking about seeing school pictures of my youngest sister when she was like in preschool and kindergarten, and no shade, but just like how, like, her clothes and stuff. Where with us, when we were that age, like, my mom made sure we were sharp, and I could just tell that she was fading away due to whatever other issues she was going through. So that's the only reason why I say, in my mind, kind of extending grace, maybe not even grace to her, maybe grace to myself, and realizing she didn't just hate me, she probably was hating herself at the time too. Like, she hated life. Like, everything was falling apart. So she probably wanted to fight me, wanted to fight my dad, just everything just wasn't in a good space for her. So I'm not excusing her behavior or excusing the things that she did to me or the way that she treated me, But looking back at it and looking at the full picture, not just at my part in it, it's like, wow, like all of this was a mess.
I still disagree with that. I don't think like you said, no 12 or 13-year-old should be taking care of kids. And that responsibility shouldn't be put on a 12-year-old. Like, you shouldn't be put in a position where, like almost like if I have a kid, I'm not going to take a job where I'm not there knowing that I have girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, there should be some responsibility in that, not just saying, oh, I got these adult responsibilities and I'm supposed to do this.
I hear what you said. I mean, you don't, like, it would be early on, it would be like, okay, she made dinner and she would put it in the refrigerator and I would just have to warm it up.
It's almost
but then
like
as time went on, my dad would be like, don't do that because the food is nasty. He didn't want it just warmed up. He wanted fresh food. Or so it would be like, okay, well, I made this for y'all, like me and my sisters, but make this for him since he want fresh food. So, I mean, as time went on, things kind of evolved where I think in the beginning, she tried to prep for, home life and then work, or like, maybe, do my sister's hair or something before she went to work. And then after that, it was like, okay, as time went on, I could just see the disintegration. Yeah.
When we met, y'all relationship was kind of okay. I mean, it was at a good point. And then deeper into our relationship, like the present, it's not so good. Where might you say that went wrong?
I think as I started to grow and learn and want different for myself, I realized that some people in your life, regardless of what title they have, can resent that. It's almost like, how dare you not want to put up with what you've been putting up with all this time? Or how dare, not even put up, but like, how dare you not want to entertain this? Like, I'll just use that as an example, buying food stamps. Like, I just don't buy food stamps. And, it's kind of like a thing where somebody think like, oh, would you think you too good to buy food stamps?
Well, you can just say, yes, I am.
But it's not even a matter of thinking too good.
What's wrong with saying that? Like, I'm not better than you, but I'm better than doing that.
It's not, to me, it's not even a situation of being better than the situation. It's just something I don't want to do, and I don't have to give it a reason for. But some people, just by your actions or difference in thinking or wanting to move differently, they can take offense to that, because it's almost as if you're saying, oh, I don't want to do what you're doing. So they think, oh, what do you think what I'm doing is wrong, or what I'm doing is beneath you? And I'm not even thinking about it on that level. It's just, as my mind evolves and I want different, not better, not worse, I want different for myself, some people can take offense to that. So I think where my mom and I bump heads is that as I grow and evolve, she is trying to find her space. And I think
when you say space, you mean like her space in her life or yours?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I think that's what it is. And it's one of them things where it's difficult for me, because she's never been that mom that was like, oh, like, let's go get our nails done, let's go get our hair done, as I was growing up. At certain points in my life, I tried to implement that and, build that relationship. But it's hard to try to create something with somebody and they don't want the same things, or it doesn't feel authentic.
It's disingenuous and it's manufactured.
Yeah, it doesn't feel authentic, so it just kind of fades away because it's not a mutual effort. And then sometimes you have in relationships, people feel this sense of entitlement, and I'm still a work in progress, and I can say that I don't feel that I'm entitled to give anybody anything except for him, because I promised God that I would, and that's just how I feel. So we're trying to find, I'll say we are trying to find our space in each other's lives, but I'm not willing to compromise my comfortability for anybody else's comfortability. Like, I'm not going to allow myself to be in a situation that doesn't feel authentic for me, that doesn't make me feel good, that where I feel like I have to have a filter on because of other people's feelings. So that's kind of where we are, just trying to, and I'm also one of those people who, right, wrong, y'all can have your opinion. I don't care who you are, you can't say anything to me. And you know, my mom and I, we've had some really heated discussions and arguments because I don't feel like you should allow anybody in your life to disrespect you. Just nobody. And I'm never gonna allow that. And again, it's just our relationship has ebbed and flowed. And I feel like the more I grow, the more strain it has put on it, because again, she feels like my growth is pushing her out, and it's not, because my growth is not about anybody else but myself. But you know, sometimes people just feel intimidated because they feel like, oh, you're changing, I don't know my place. Just be you. Your place will be your place. Just be you. So I just keep that in prayer, that, you know, things will be what it will be, and we will be okay. Whatever okay looks like.
You try to be so nice.
No, I love my mom, and I'm not in a space, and I know we'll talk about your relationship with your parents. I'm not in a space where I feel like, maybe this is an empathic part of me. I'm not in a space where I feel like today sitting here, like, can cut my mom off and never talk to her again. There are periods of time when I don't want to talk to her, and I don't want to entertain any kind of discourse with her. Like, I just don't want to feed into it. If it's anything negative going on, I'd rather just detach myself from that. But and part of it too, you know, one of the things that I think about is knowing some parts of her past, because my mom, again, comes from that generation where she isn't open to sharing her past. But I think to myself, I know she has lacked love in a lot of areas of her life, and I never want her to feel unloved, because despite what our relationship is, I love her. We may not always I won't even speak for her. I may not always like her, but I love her. So I think that's what is like that thread that makes me want to get it right. Whatever right is, right doesn't mean we're going to be kumbaya skipping across the rainbow, but whatever right turns out to be, I think that love and not wanting her to feel unloved is, you know, that empathic part of me just continues in whatever small way to continue to keep that in prayer.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have for you.
Yeah.
What interview turned over to you?
So, daddy, okay. This is, if somebody had to ask you, and this is weird because our lives mirror each other in so many ways. So I know the answer, but just for the people, so many people talk about daddy issues versus mommy issues. What do you feel is more prevalent in your life?
I would think the mommy issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think the mommy issues is way more prevalent. Although, no, yeah, I would, now that I think about it, I don't know. Because, see, like for me, I'm so, we talk about present time, like I'm so detached from those.
Well, okay, maybe not, but just over the course of your life, if you think about which has been the bigger issue, has it been, I'm not saying today, because today you might feel like you don't have issues with either, but over the course of your life, which has been the biggest elephant on your back?
Oh, I would say daddy issues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely say daddy issues. If you're talking about over the course of my life, then yeah.
Okay. All right. So what is your relationship like today with your dad?
Non-existent. Non-existent, and it has been for probably 20 years, 25 years. Yeah, and through that, those years, it creates, and I just realized this, it creates a certain detachment, because time gets between things, and you're so far away from it that it doesn't emotionally, it might show up in different ways in your life, but it doesn't emotionally bother you the way that it does the first week.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So, question: we've been in spaces, family events where, and not many, but over our life, I can count on one hand. We've been in spaces where your dad has been present, and I mean, of course, there's been no volatile issues. There hasn't been any issue at all. But what has there been internally? What has that been like for you?
To see him in a room is probably like, well, and again, I can't, if I'm speaking now or
At those moments, if you can remember, like I
at
can
those
remember
moments, yeah, I was probably upset, trying not to get as mad as I wanted to be. Yeah, just feeling frustrated, angry, disappointed in those moments. Yeah.
So at what age did you said 25 years ago, about 25 years ago, the relationship dissolved? And
Maybe more.
was there a pivotal point in your life when okay, 25 years ago, when did the pain of that kind of, let's just say right now you'll be 45 this year. So 25 years ago you were 20. Is that the correct age?
So I would say 35 years ago.
So at 10?
30 years ago.
So 15.
Yeah.
Can't do the
somewhere
math
around
real
there.
fast. Okay.
Yeah.
So around 15. So 35 years ago, 30 years ago, the relationship dissolved. At what age, I know you said today there's a detachment. At what age did the pain subside of losing the relationship? I won't say losing your dad, he's still alive, but losing the relationship with your dad.
26.
Do you care to elaborate? Like, was you said that which makes me you said that so quickly, which makes me feel like that was like a pivotal moment. Like, was it an event that happened? Was it like something in your life where 26 stood out?
It was Jada. It was my daughter being born. Probably a year before that, I think. I think I was 24.
No, your daughter was born when you were 21.
No, it wasn't.
You'll be 45 this year, and she's 24. So you were 21, baby.
Okay, so but still, it was Jada. It was.
I'm sorry. Actually, you were 20. You would have been 21 that year.
Wow, that's a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. It. I remember me starting to work and just understand what I had to do, and figured out that I couldn't be bad anymore. So that was probably the pivotal point in my life where it was like, okay, regardless of any direction or mentorship that you have in your life, this is what you have to do. So yeah, that's what. What was the question?
The question was, when did the pain of losing the relationship of him stop? You said at 26.
Yeah, at 26, I just stopped feeling like that yearning for a dad, like just wanting something that's not going to be there. But see, the thing is, right, and when I was young growing up, I was always, like, my dad was on drugs. So I always was told and fed bad things about him from my mom. So, because like the relationship strain with my dad, he didn't really do anything to me. You know what I'm saying?
He
like
just was absent.
Yeah, he didn't beat me. He wasn't mean to me. He didn't do anything to me. He just wasn't there. And the reasons for him not being there, obviously he was on drugs, but it just was portrayed to me that he was, you know, quote unquote, the worst parent. Like he was the one that your dad don't want you. You know, and like my mom would say things like that and say like, you know, and that would make you feel like, okay, why don't he want me? Like, what did I do? And all the time it's the shit that's between them and, you know, the adults. It's got nothing to do with the kids. It's just the shit between them. But her portraying and giving that kind of information to us, or not even, I can't speak about my brothers and sisters, but giving that kind of information to me, like, he's a bad person, or he's on drugs and he's doing this and he stole from me and he ain't coming back and he left for a week and he don't want you. Like, all that kind of shit was the effects of being on drugs, but it wasn't like, I didn't feel like he was malicious in it.
It wasn't directed towards you.
Right.
It was just the
being an addict. I mean, and
right. You were just
13
the
years
effect
old.
of it.
Yeah, you don't understand being an addict. You just think, why you smoke crack? Like, why can't you stop that shit? You know, but you don't understand what being on drugs is. So you don't have no comprehension. Even though I'm selling drugs, I don't understand what addiction is to that degree to be like, damn, like, that's why he ain't coming home. That's why he spent this old check. That's why he in these houses. That's why he stole. You know what I'm saying? But before that, he wasn't a thief. Before that, he wasn't those type of things. So yeah, I was fed bad information about him, but from 15 to 26, I endured so much street stuff, like being in the street and selling drugs and dealing with a bunch of dudes and going to jail and having to deal with men and having a baby and just trying to navigate all these things from 15 to 26. I was just like, didn't know who I was, didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I was doing. So as shit started to shape up towards me being 26 and I wasn't doing bad stuff to people, I wasn't selling drugs, I wasn't in that space no more, that's when it was like, you know, I guess when you can say that tough love, it clicked in, because it was like, it's a choice for me. I can wake up and feel like I'm upset about this or mad about this and sulk about it, or I can get my shit together and try to have a better life. And at the same time, again, he didn't do nothing to me. So it wasn't like it was something that I could hold on to be like, I'm mad at you for this. You know what I'm saying? And then as I got older, I understood what addiction was and what being on drugs is and what being on crack was. And everybody in my neighborhood was on crack, and everybody's dad and mom was on crack. And so it just was like, you know, not an excuse why you did drugs, but everybody, it's almost like you get a slight pass in that era when crack came out, because it swept through everybody's neighborhood.
Do you forgive your dad? Or have you forgiven him?
Yeah, I've forgiven him because I don't carry it anymore. I mean, I carry it. I don't have a dad. I don't have that relationship. Like you said before, I wish I had a dad, but, you know, circumstances don't allow that. And I know what type of person he is now, and I wouldn't want to be like around that and stuff like that, or have a dad in that kind of fashion. But yeah, I've forgiven him because, again, I don't carry it like I'm walking around and I'm mad. Like, my circumstances to me are what they are, and things that I can control, I will control or try to, but I can't control that. And I'm not the type to manufacture relationships and do stuff because everybody has a stigma around, damn, you don't talk to your dad, damn, you don't talk to your mom, like, what's wrong with you? And it's like, no, it ain't nothing wrong with me. Like, I'm happy, I'm peaceful. It's just, I can't control those things, and I hate to say it is what it is, but it kind of is what it is. But I can be in the same room with him. I just don't, but I'm not angry in a room with him, you know.
If you're in the same room, he look over, what's up? How you been? How's things going?
Yeah, I'm good. That kind of thing. I mean, I don't want to do too much talking. Obviously, I'm socially awkward, and
but would that be the reason, or would you be more dismissive because it's him? Like, would it be because of who he is, or as if he was any stranger in the room?
I don't think I would be. I would be dismissive, but not ignorantly, not arrogantly.
That's growth for you, because
like,
in the past you've been very dismissive.
Yeah, I'm good, but I would keep it short, but I wouldn't be like angry dismissive, like, you know, on a sentence away from saying I don't fucking want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't be that way, but, you know, it is what it is. Again, I don't carry it that way. Like, time has put so much distance in that emotion that it's a certain detachment from it, and I didn't ask for it. It's just what has evolved over the time. And again, I'm totally in a certain, well, no, I mean, it just is what it is in that aspect. Yeah.
Mommy Dearest, what is your earliest memory good or bad, your earliest memory of your mom?
My earliest memory of my mom. Wow. The earliest memory I have in my brain is me being 2 years old and she was in it, because her and my grandmother tried to put clothes on me that I didn't want, and I cried and had a tantrum. And I remember that. And it was a gray suit and a sky blue trench coat. And I didn't want it on. It was a Sunday, and they tried to lay it out on the bed. And when I saw it, I freaked the fuck out. I didn't even have it on yet. I just came in out the tub, walked in the room, seen it, and lost it. And I was 2 years old, and I remember that shit.
Why didn't you want this suit on?
I didn't like it. I didn't want it. I have pictures with it on too, but I didn't like it. I didn't want it even on, and I cried the whole time they put it on, and I didn't like it. So that's the earliest memory I have of her.
So what was your relationship like with your mom in your prepubescent stages? So let's say from that young childhood to 10 years old.
As I remember it, it was like, like any kid growing up, it was kind of fun. I remember certain like music videos where I used to like try to make her laugh. Like if she's like doing a certain a dance or something.
Like the MC Hammer or something?
Yeah, or the Kwame, or, like I used to like perform those songs in the living room and like make them laugh and stuff like that. So I remember that being early. Getting my hair cut like a box, like she always loved that. When I had a tail, like, she used to put her dye on it and stuff like that. So I remember those times, but
just thinking prepubescent up to 10, yeah.
Yeah, so it was times like that. The Cosby Show days, like we all sat and watched that kind of shit. Yeah, so that's what I remember. I remember her being on her knees smoking joints outside her bedroom window. And she probably don't even like know I saw her, but I remember that at an early age, and like her being really young. Yeah. So yeah.
One of the things that I always thought was interesting about your mom is, unlike so many parents in our generation, she wasn't like a really young mom.
No.
Yeah, she wasn't a really
not
young.
Like 18, 19.
Right. Like my mom had me when she was 20, and you have an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
But how old was your mom when she became a mom?
17.
Really?
Mm-hmm. With Gary. Gary's 48 years old. She's 60, 5? 65, 66.
So it's like 18, 19.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but okay, then she was a young mom.
I think
then
she got pregnant at 17.
Okay, then scratch that.
Yeah.
She was a young mom. I don't know why for some
reason. They didn't say it back then, but they was driving it like it was hot.
I thought she was older. All right, so now, you become a teenager, and I know you was in the streets doing your thing. What was your relationship like with your mom and your teenage years prior to you getting into the trouble that you got into? So that's like from 11 to 18.
Well, you gotta think I started selling drugs when I was like 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I say trouble, meaning the trouble that led through your 23 years.
Right. That was the end trouble. I got in trouble like that before too.
Okay.
It was bad. I was selling drugs. I would come home and my room would be tossed like the police tossed it, and she would be looking for money. She has done stuff like that and got me in trouble or in beefs in the street because she took my money or drug money that I had that probably wasn't even mine. So things like that, arguments. I was young. I was a boy. I was smelling myself. I was out there earning my own money, and I felt like, I don't have to. How you young, I don't have to abide by these rules. I mean, you got kicked out, so you know what that's like. Like, I don't like these rules. I make my own money. You don't buy me anything. And I felt like I don't even eat this food. I eat outside most of the time. Like, so you can't tell me what to do. And I can't come home from being outside and my room is tossed and you done took, $400 that I got to give somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 12, 13 years old. Like, you putting me in situations that you don't even care about in the street, and it's causing problems for me.
So what could your mom have done differently in your life at that time that may have kept you out of trouble?
I mean, in hindsight, probably just cared more. I mean, it was easy for me. It was easy for me. And I guess if it wasn't easy, then I don't know. And again, I don't want to sit here and sound like she's the responsibility for things that I've done, but it was easy for me. It was easy for me to stay out late. It was easy for me to sell drugs. My mom found guns in the house and ski masks and all kinds of stuff in her house, in her basement, and under my mattress. And again, it was just easy for me to do the things that I was doing because there was like minimal restrictions.
Mm. So just if she had been a stricter parent, either you would have been put out because you didn't abide by the rules, or you just would not have done the things you would have done because you knew you would have gotten in trouble?
No, I think, looking back, I think it's just information. I think if she would have been a more educated parent, she would have been not necessarily more strict, because of course, she didn't want me selling drugs. She didn't want me doing the things that I was doing. And she told me plenty of times, don't do that. But she told me informed in ways of like, you're going to die, or, like that kind of shit. So yeah, I mean, just to think back, I think that if she was more informed and more educated, she probably would have been more on me about, school and grades and things like that. But again, our moms were young, and that generation, they didn't, it was the generation after, or the 2 generations after that went to school and did all that stuff, but they just didn't. And they had the information that they had, and they thought that they was raising kids the best way that they could, and that was it.
So do you think that she was doing the best that she could during that time, or the best that she knew how?
This is where it falters at, because I don't. Because again, I was in the street. So I saw things that my brothers and sisters didn't. Like, they were in the house. My two younger brothers were younger. My older brother wasn't a street person. He wasn't ever outside. So I saw things 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. There's just grown people in the street telling me to tell your mom, she owe me money, and those kind of things. Or, just shit like that.
Not talking, but that's her personal life. I'm talking about, do you think that she did the best that she could do to raise you?
That's subjective. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And again, it's only based on because of the things that I saw. So I can say I saw her doing bad things, and you could have been doing better things.
But that's her personal life. What about the things she was doing to raise you?
But what do you? I don't
I'm saying, like, in
that.
terms of, like you said, do you think she did the best that she could do it? Like you said, she wasn't involved in school. Like, do you think that was it a thing of just her not knowing, or her being lazy? In terms of parenting,
I would say both.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say both. I would say not having information, and then you only care as much as you care. I mean, again, it was, she had 5 kids. Like, we all lived in the same house, so it just was easy for me to do the things that I was able to do.
Okay.
And I think my 2 brothers after that was much harder for them. And I guess I kind of set the example
right.
of, this is what you're not going to be. But yeah, it was just easy for me.
All right. So you turn 19, 20, 21, you become a dad somewhere between that time. What was your relationship like throughout your 20s? Now, I know you became a dad, and then we were together when you were 24, 25. But so throughout your 20s, how did your relationship with her evolve?
It became, I would say, probably even worse, because I already had got into trouble when I was 19 or 20 years old. And even before that, I was arrested and in jail and spent some time in jail. And I always felt like because of the stealing and the things that we used to argue about and the things that were said in those arguments, that I didn't fully trust her. Like, I just felt like that through everything that I went through, even like being on the phone with my girlfriend at the time, you know, asking for money, and it just people in the street that's going to bring her money for me. And it just felt like I had money in the house and you can, you know, use it for this and I need this. And it just felt like I never could trust any of that. So as time went on and I got into deeper trouble, I didn't feel like, which you probably shouldn't have, but I didn't feel like I had total support with that. I felt like that's just something that, which I take accountability for, that I just did on my own. Like, this is just what I'm doing. I'm out. And that's kind of how that came to fruition. But yeah, it kind of strayed even more because obviously I'm not seeing you as much. We're putting time in between the times that I do see you, but you know, we don't have this relationship. And again, the distance that is being created in between that, it's less feelings. Right. And again, I'm not going to lie. When I was young, I couldn't wait to be out the house. I didn't like the rules. I didn't like, you know, how strict she was sometimes with me. So I couldn't wait to get out the house. So it was like something that I wanted to be away. And I'm not saying like that's a right or wrong thing, but I remember being from 14 to 18 thinking like, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to move. I can't wait to get out of here. Now, under the circumstances which I left, I probably wouldn't have wanted that, but I always felt like I wanted to leave.
Now, do you feel like in hindsight, her being strict would have been, her trying to be more restrictive was for your benefit and maybe to keep you out of trouble?
I'm sure, yeah. Her trying to be restrictive was, because she didn't want me to go to jail. She didn't want me to do the things I was doing. She didn't want me to be in trouble in the streets and all that stuff, as a parent should. But it wasn't... It
wasn't like just to be mean to you. Like, she, in some way, thought
I guess
it was...
the delivery and, you know, how things is handed to you, in a sense, it matters.
Okay.
So I guess to sit your son down and tell him and give him some game about why you shouldn't be doing this is different from saying if you keep doing that, you're going to die.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And at the time, okay, that's tough love, but, you know, this is a mother figure. It's kind of different. And again, maybe she didn't have no game to sit me down and be like, you should do this instead of that. Or, you know, this is going to lead to this. This is going to lead to that. But again, I just remember it being super easy for me.
Do you think it's kind of coincidental that when you say her giving tough love, and we all know that you're Mr. Tough Love, well, you don't sugarcoat anything for anybody either. Do you think that was a learned behavior from her?
Do I think she learned tough love?
No. Do you think
I learned it from
her?
Right,
because that's how you are. Like, you'll tell somebody, look, you don't need to do this or you gonna die. You're not about this.
No, I won't.
No. You will. You're not.
I have a daughter. And as bad as some of the things that I've been wanting to say to her over the years through the turbulent times we've had, I've held back from that because I know what that feels
like. What about if you had a son? I understand the approach with a girl might be different than with a boy.
I would not.
Double standards in this world.
It is double standards, and I am acknowledging that there's double standards. Sitting here now, I would think not that I wouldn't tell my child at all that, you know, I should have aborted you or you're gonna die. Like, I wouldn't say
two different things.
But those are two pivotal things that she said to me in my childhood that are
obviously hurt.
That we've had arguments where we was arguing with each other and it just was back and forth. Even if it was, you know, fuck you, that kind of, like, it didn't hurt. When those things came out, it was like, okay, argument one, like, shut down. And it was like, okay,
the
like,
whole
holy
abortion
shit.
thing is one thing. And I'm not saying she's right, but I can just imagine a circumstance if, you know, your son out here gang warring, shooting up, and it's like, you better stop, you're going to die out there. Like, so that's why, and again, me not being in the scenario, just, I can imagine that being said without without being able to find the words to say, this is why you shouldn't be shooting.
That
this
particular instance where she was braiding my sister's hair calmly, and I was just running in and out the house, and she just was like, if you keep this up, you're gonna die.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, motherfucker, you better shit. Like, it wasn't that type of vibe. It was just on some calm, okay, this is the 4th time you coming in the house. Okay, this is the 5th time. Okay, the 6th time, you're gonna die. And it was just like, wow.
Yeah. So here we are, you're 44, turbulent relationship through your 20s, through your 30s. It was the same and actually kind of worsened. But for the sake of time, here we are, 44. As it stands today, what's your relationship like with your mom?
Pretty non-existent. And again, the distance, and some people, and again, there's a stigma around what I'm going through, because people always be like, not always, but I know I can feel people be like, damn, you don't talk to your mom. Like, what the fuck? Did you get beat as a kid? Like, she touched you? Like, no, none of that shit. We just don't get along. And a lot of people just don't understand that, especially in the Black community. They just don't understand that as you grow up, your peace is more important, and your comfortability shouldn't be, like you just said, shouldn't be compromised for anybody's comfortability. And you should stand up for yourself, and your peace is first. Like, if I'm having a relationship with somebody that's making me not peaceful, why would I be doing that? Life comes down to choices, and that's just how I move. So yeah, I know there's a stigma around that, and people be like, damn, don't talk to your mom, don't talk to your pops. Like, they wonder what's wrong with you inside if you don't have no parents, and they hear, like, why, what are you doing that for? And it's like, you don't know my life. Like, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what type of relationship we have. Like, just focus on your life.
Right. So not thinking about how other people look at it. How do you feel, knowing, and I understand the dynamics with your dad is different because, like you said, there's such a stigma placed on maternal relationships. Mm-hmm. It's like the worst thing in the world for someone not to talk to their mom. But we understand, just, because of how our lives are, even though the situations are different, our approach is different, our mindset is different, but we understand that maternal turmoil that can exist. What are your feelings? If you had one sentence that you could say to her today, one sentence. It can have a comma in it. It could be but one sentence. What would that be?
Well, she thinks I don't love her.
No, look, if you had one sentence that you could say to her today, what would that be?
Wow, I never thought about that. One sentence. I love you. That would be it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be it. Just, I love you.
Okay. Is there anything that you need from either your mother or your father?
You mean like apology?
Anything. Is there anything that I'll start with your dad? Is there anything that
this is the thing that I'm trying to explain, and I didn't know that this would happen, but the distance has created less emotion in that space where I used to feel that type of emotion strongly, and because of time and distance, I don't.
Right, so I'm not saying it's something that's lingering on your heart every day, but in this moment as we're having the conversation, if somebody said you could ask, your dad for one thing, whether it be physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever, financial. No, I mean, I know that wouldn't be it, but I'm just saying.
I'm asking for $5.
You ask for $5.
Let me get a nickel, man. Give me a salt bucket. Yeah.
Same for your mom. What would you ask for her for something that you needed? I know you don't need $5, but what if there was something, say you had one request that you could make to your mom, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, what would that one request be?
Wow, you put me on the spot, man. Like one request.
Because I'm the co-hostess with the mostest.
I don't want to be giving an answer like I don't know, but I really don't, and I don't. I don't think I would have a request. I don't need her to do anything. Back to what you said, what I would say. Jesus Christ. It's a pretty tough one. And I hate to have the dead air, but I'm thinking, and I think I would say, I love you. And again, I don't want to sound like, I don't know. This is really hard for me. This is really hard for me. You put me on the spot. I don't know what I would say. I don't think I would ask for a request. And I think I would just say, I love you. That's what it is. I wouldn't ask for a request. I don't need her to do anything. I don't want her to do anything. And I don't want, I would just say, I love you.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was a great, cathartic, episode. You know, I'm happy that you approached this topic. It can get deeper, and you know, you were very transparent. I know I wasn't as transparent. That's probably because parts of my story involve others that I don't want to divulge, you know, their personal information. But this is very cathartic. So I'm looking forward to. I told y'all earlier that I was about to, you know, mentally I was feeling in a good space, but a little apprehensive about since, you know, we're transparent here.
There's a lot of work that has to be done for us to be in the same space. That's what I would say.
That's what you would say to her?
Yeah. There's a lot of work that has to be done for us to be in the same space. Again, I'm in the midst of doing that work for myself. I can't speak where she is in her life, but that's what I would say. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. So as he said, that work that's being done, part of both of our lives, you know, we talk about mental health and our couples therapy that we, you know, do, and not just when we're on bad terms, good, bad, and different. And I'm going to embark on the journey of continuing my own individual therapy services, because as much, you know, as we love each other and support each other and, you know, seek guidance in that way, we put our therapist through triple time, you know, because she give him a little individual, me a little individual, us a little together. So I'm just grateful that we have the resources, and I encourage everyone, not just because I you know, I'm for the most part okay, but it doesn't mean that we don't all need someone to talk to if you feel that you do. So I encourage everyone to take that step to go on that journey.
Yes, I second that, what she said. What have you learned?
You know, I learned, this is for my ladies out there, I learned this from personal experience. Did you know that your menstrual cycle can
let that blink, or you want to cut it off?
Can impact your sinuses?
Mm-hmm.
So as I told y'all, I took off work a day this week. I wasn't feeling good. I'm not one that suffers from seasonal allergies in the capacity that other people do. You know, my eyes might water a couple days here and there, but I don't need to like pop Claritin or Zyrtec or any of that. But I had a sinus headache that literally, it felt like I could take it out of my forehead. So my husband, you know, knowing the time of the month it was, going through, and I always knew I get period headaches as I would label them, and just thought, okay, you know, this was I know, like with the hormonal changes and things like that, but it directly impacts your sinuses, like with fluid retention, the buildup of mucus in your body, mucus being in your sinuses. So, you know, just make a mental note for yourself. And this is the peaks in estrogen can cause you to have non-allergic reactions to histamine. So meaning it's not really caused by allergies per se, but it's the hormonal changes that are impacting your sinuses. So I learned that this week through my own horrible headache. That's something that men don't even have to think about. Menstrual cycles and period headaches and all that kind of stuff.
Men get periods. We don't get
bleeding. Yeah, y'all get emotional periods. Y'all definitely do. I'm happy that you admit to that, because some men, I know we don't. Y'all definitely do.
Men get periods. We just don't bleed. But yeah, we definitely get periods.
Yeah. So that was something that I learned this week. What did you learn this week?
I learned this week something kind of for a woman. I saw a woman have a baby in a tub, and it kind of blew my mind. She was all by herself, and she did it alone, and it was just amazing. And like, I don't want to get emotional about this, but it was like, holy shit! Like, how do you do that? Like, by yourself? And it's just like, women are crazy. And I read up on like what she was doing and the breastfeeding part of it, and I read that breastfeeding is so biological that if the baby is breastfeeding and it's not getting, because breast milk has all types of nutrients in it, and the titty will let out whatever nutrients the baby needs. There's something in the baby's saliva that talks to the nipple, that sends a signal to the milk that says what type of nutrients it needs, and the mom's body will adjust to that and give out the nutrients that it needs in the milk. That shit is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Our bodies are
like that
magical.
shit is crazy. Yeah. And I just thought that was like insane. And I never seen. You see people have babies, but they usually have a person there with them. Like
a doula or
somebody. Yeah, this lady was just like, no, it's time. And we go run some water and pop a baby out.
Wow.
And I got my own little shit to suck the stuff out the nose and cut the cord, and I'm good. Wow. It was just like, damn.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Our bodies are magical, and that, like, kind of similar, sort of related to that, too, like the chemical that's released through childbirth, pitocin, which if you get induced, they give you artificial pitocin to induce you. But, that chemical is what causes babies. And I'm not saying if it's not released, or if you have a cesarean, your baby won't love you, but there is a chemical reaction that your body has with the release of that pitocin, that the baby is attached to the mom, like, physiologically, emotionally, so much so that if a gorilla, if they performed a C-section on a gorilla, that gorilla will not breastfeed their baby, because the same hormone is released, which creates that bond. That's what it is. They call it like the bonding hormone. So it
talks to the internal part of the person and tells them, this is your young.
Yep. So that's our bodies really are magical. God knew what he was doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. 3 grams. Niggas ain't shit.
Oh.
I'm serious. Niggas ain't shit. And it's hard for me to I've heard that over the years, and I've always tried to stand up for the men. And I'm not in the dating scene. I've been, with the same girl, having the same stuff for 25 years. But it's crazy out here where I saw a girl go out with a guy, pay half for dinner, pay for gas, and then he wouldn't drop her off because she wasn't coming back to his apartment. And this was the first date. And to me, it was just like, wow, like, it really is hard for women. Like, it really is hard in 2022, if that's what the expectation is. Like, we just meet on the first date, and you got to give me half for dinner. You got to pay for some gas, and because you're not coming back to my apartment on the first date, I'm not dropping you off. I'm making you walk. And it's like, damn, like, how aren't women supposed to say dudes ain't shit if that's the pick of the litter?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's...
Like, I've heard my sisters-in-laws over the years say niggas ain't shit. You know, like I've heard other girls say niggas ain't shit, and you just think, man, you messing with the wrong dudes, or where the hell you picking from? But if you go out on a date with a guy and you gotta pay for gas, you know, like since we've been together, like that's the rule. You eat, I pay, like for life. Like I don't understand how that's not in you as a man. Like your wife needs to eat, your woman needs to eat. You can't take care of that. Like it's food. What's the half shit? Like we going to dinner. Like what do you mean go in your pocketbook and get half for dinner? Like that shit is just incomprehensible to me. And whatever works for you out there, it works for you. But I guess it's just men being cut from a different cloth.
I mean, it's. I hope this teaches women, girls, a lesson to be prepared, because I hope that young lady didn't have to walk. I hope that she had her own coins where she could call a Uber.
And she recorded the end of the date as he was saying, yeah, like, if you ain't trying to come back to my apartment. Like, she had put her phone in her bag and was like, you ain't trying to come back to my apartment. Then, and you know, she was like, but we kind of just met. It's our first date. You don't think that's weird? And he was like, well, you like me. I like you. If you ain't trying to come back to my apartment, you could just walk. It was
so
like,
again,
damn.
I hope that she has her own coin and she ain't have to walk nowhere, and she was able to call a Uber or Lyft, a cab, wherever she lives. So hopefully that's a lesson to her. And you know, I've always tried, you know, teach my sisters as they were growing up, don't ever allow anybody to have you in a situation where you're stuck. Don't feel like you ever have to do anything for a man to get somewhere or to get something, or you know, let them have you stuck. But let me ask you this.
It's better if you, why would you try to buy disingenuous sex, though, is what I'm saying. She don't want to come back to your apartment, and you think that you can talk her off the ledge into doing that. It's like her mind is made up that I'm not fucking you tonight, and you think that you can talk her into that. Like, you want to have sex with somebody that don't want to have sex with you. I don't understand that.
Well, I mean, he already took a L when she had to put gas in his car, like that right there. But let me ask you this now, not to play devil's advocate, because, and I'm not one that believe men ain't shit. Like, there are some good men out here. They may be few and far between, but it's a lot that need to be taught some lessons. Let me ask you this. I've seen some girls say, oh, if a guy is asking me out, then I can ask him for money. Now, and this might be a different...
I'll make that make sense. What's the correlation?
Right, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. So I seen a girl, you know, post something before, like a guy was asking her out, and her thing was like, my time ain't free. Now, unless you're selling coochie, if you an escort service, you selling coochie, that's one thing. By all means, run your business, sis. But if he's asking you for a date, why should a man have to give you money to take you on a date? And also, with that being said, and let me finish this too. With that being said, I don't understand. Now, ladies, I know how y'all like to tussle. Y'all can come at me if y'all want. I don't understand the mentality of women that feels like, oh, if I'm giving a, and I'm not talking about a husband and wife situation. I'm not even talking about a boyfriend-girlfriend situation, a dating situation. If I'm giving a man coochie, then I can ask him for money, because, you know, I'm giving him something so he can give me money. Like, are you not enjoying the sex too? Because if we really look at it, you're giving him coochie, he's giving you penis. So to me, that's a fair exchange. If I had a son, he's not going to be giving somebody money just because she's giving him coochie. Like, I don't understand the mentality. And maybe this is one of them things where it's like, this is just not my generation, I'm old. But I don't understand the correlation that women have. And I've had this conversation with a group of women like in their 20s or late 20s, early 30s, maybe late 20s, where it's like, oh yeah, if I'm giving him some, then I can ask him for money. Can he ask you for money? Because if you giving him some, but hopefully you're not giving him some just because he wanted. Hopefully you want some too. So in that case, it's a fair exchange. Where does it come into play? Oh, you get coochie, so I get money.
I don't think it should be a fair exchange. I think it should be an even exchange, because if all you get from me is a wet ass and you in a bind, you should be able to ask me for something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. As a woman, why are you giving him?
I don't think it should be a cha-ching thing, like a definite thing you're putting on it, like just because you fucking me, you get money. So no, it shouldn't be like that. But I do feel like as a man, if we having sex and we hanging out and we having sex together, yeah, if you feel like you're in a bind, you can ask me for something, because like it can't just be like, man, I'm in a bind. Well, damn, don't you got a boyfriend? Yeah, but I ain't asking him for that. So it's like the only thing you getting from him is a wet ass and a good time, some food, but you in this jam, some real life shit, and you can't ask for $100.
No, I
like,
agree.
Right.
You should be able to, but it shouldn't be an expectation.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Don't get me wrong. I want gifts. I want flowers. I want dates. Like, that stuff is essential. But I don't know where this mindset came into play. So, and to tie it back into what you're saying, I think this is a generational thing where they got the game like twisted. Like, men feel like, or these boys feel like,
you can't use my line if you're not gonna say that they got the game fucked up.
You know, I don't talk like that. But where they feel like, oh, if I take you out, you gotta give me coochie, and a girl feel like, well, if you want to take me out, you gotta give me money. If y'all prostitutes just say that, then
no,
then
there shouldn't be a what did you say? Exchange,
right?
Expectation,
right?
It shouldn't be an expectation. It should be an even underlying thing that, you know, if we having sex, I'm digging you, you digging me. You get into a real life bond, you should be able to ask me for $100 if you need it. You should be able to ask me to help you out this bond. Okay, like that's just, as a man, that's just how I feel.
I agree.
And I don't, to go back to the dude, I don't think he wanted the date. I think the date was because he wanted sex. So let me take this girl out. I don't really want the dinner. I just want sex. And now that it's almost like, why didn't you just get a prostitute?
Right, because
like,
in that case, what did you even pay for?
Yeah,
she paid for her own food.
You better off buying coochie if that's what you want. There's women who sell coochie, and you ain't got to go on no date. You ain't got to do no whining and dining. You could just have coochie instead of do that to a girl.
But you didn't even wine and dine her. She paid for her own food.
You take her out and you do that to her and put that type of memory in her bank, like this is what guys are, and you still didn't have sex.
Yeah.
Whereas though you could have just went to the wishy-wash and paid for sex and then been fine.
They still got wishy-washers?
I guess so. I don't know. Second gram, the Buffalo shooting. Guy killed 10 people at the Top supermarket. Shot 13 people, went in there specifically and killed 11 black people.
Yeah, I heard that he specifically was looking to go to a low-income neighborhood.
Told a white guy that he's sorry he shot him in the midst of being arrested or about to be arrested. One of the people he shot was white, but he told him he was sorry.
I thought he was about to shoot him, but he stopped.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, he was about to shoot him and realized he was white and then stopped, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, horrible. You know, it's crazy because like I said before, I haven't looked at any details, but I've read where a lot of people said this guy was like posting his manifesto and his intentions online. And the crazy thing is, Facebook, Instagram, these social media sites will flag you for saying. So the other day, I went to comment on somebody's thing to say, I was writing the word dumb. I don't even know if I was calling somebody dumb. And it told me that I couldn't comment that. Like, it wouldn't let me post the comment. So I had to change the word. And then I put D space UMB. But it will flag anything else you say, but yet it allows this man to post whatever hate speech he's been posting, and nobody's ever flagged. The FBI should have been sent to his house.
Yep. Condolences to the families that lost the people. Seen a news guy break down crying because he's like, this is the 15th mass shooting that I've done. He reported on. And it's just crazy. Like, 15? Like, when's that shit gonna stop? And it's can't go to the supermarket. Glad we got Instacart. But it's like, damn, you be in a supermarket now. After this shit happened, you scared to death.
How many years have I been saying that to you?
You've always been saying that since they started, just at least back in 2015.
Yes, for like I'm telling y'all, for the last 5 or so years, I've been saying, like, it's unfortunate, but that's like a prime location where you have a bunch of people unsuspecting, where if a crazy person like he did you got sitting ducks, people waiting in the deli line, looking at the cereal, waiting to check out. You got sitting ducks there. Like, it's unfortunate, but that's the environment where something like this can happen, and here it goes.
Something happened to me today, last gram, and I wanted to wait till the show to tell you. You mind your business, right? Is that like a mantra of yours when you out and about? You mind your business.
I do. I try for the most part.
Is that like a staunch thing, or is it like you mind your business to a certain degree, or is it just no, I mind my business?
Like when I'm out in the street?
Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, if I seen something like happening to a kid or something, I probably wouldn't mind my business. But if it's like adults and yeah, for the most part, I mind my business.
Okay, so I need a nose medicine, so I go in the up where I'm at and where I'm working at. I go to the Rite Aid, go in the store, go in the nose medicine aisle, get the nose medicine, come back out, want some orange slices. Think to myself, no, this ain't Walgreens. Fuck the orange slices. Let me go. Go around the other aisle. Walk down the aisle. Black dude in the middle of the aisle stuffing batteries in his pants. Like 2-3 packs of batteries, stuffing them in his pants. Look up. We make eye contact. He's just looking at me. I'm looking at him. And I'm thinking to myself in that moment, what do I do? Like,
mind your business.
Just keep on walking past and acting like I didn't see him?
Yeah.
That's what you would have did?
I would have.
I didn't do that.
What did you do?
What did you think I did?
Offered to pay for him?
Yeah. I said, bro, there's cameras in this store. You shouldn't do that. Give me the batteries, I'll pay for them. And he got 3 packs of AA batteries and I paid for them.
Oh, that was dope.
But in that situation, like, what do you do? Do you tell the people?
No, I definitely wouldn't tell.
Do you walk by and let him steal? And you know he can get caught and locked up for fucking batteries?
He's an adult. He knows that. But yes. So my mindset is different because, and I've learned this from you, years ago, you will always tell me, don't be saying stuff to grown men. Right. If somebody slap you or somebody disrespect. Right. So in my mind, me saying, come on, sir, don't do this. If he turn around and say, be my effing business up. Now I'm in the middle of something and I shouldn't have been. I'm never going to report. If they ask me, did I see the man stealing batteries? No, what man? I didn't even see a man there. Right. Like, I'm not telling on him under any circumstances, but I would. Now, if I saw a young girl or something like that, like, let's just think of, I seen a girl like trying to steal formula. Come on, sis, let's go to the counter. I got you. I probably would. I might, but I can't say for sure. So you mind your business to a certain extent. So that's what my thing is. But I said I might. I don't even know for sure. And that's when somebody's committing a Infamil $32. No, I'm just saying when somebody's committing a crime, though, I would think like their mentality might be a little different, where they may not be open-minded enough to accept you helping them. They may become defensive. It may turn into a situation where it didn't have to. So I think that's where my apprehension would come into play in terms of helping them. This is where I thought, when I got back in the car, I thought of like, damn, why didn't I listen to my apprehension? Because it was like, he don't look like he's on drugs or on the street, but also I don't think he might need 9 batteries at the house right now. I was about to say, what's batteries for? Yeah, so, or he want to sell packs of batteries. I don't know, but I just felt, and it wasn't because he was black. It just was like, damn, bro, like, it's 11:30 in the morning. We in a Rite Aid out in this place, like this county. These fucking people will lock your ass up here. Like, if you want them that bad, I'll buy them for you. And he just was like, thanks. And I was like, bring them to the counter. And he brought them to the counter, and it was $11, and I paid for them. And it was like, but again, you mind your business to a certain point, but to what point? If you coming out of Walmart and you go to get your car, and 2 cars over, you see a guy breaking into a car, do you just gonna get in your car and drive away, or do you say, hey man, what the fuck you doing over there? Do what point do you mind your business? Like, if you literally walking in the aisle to get your car and you whoop whoop and jump in your car and you see the guy bust the fucking window and about to get in the car, do you just pull off? Or if you come out of a store and you see a guy slapping the fuck out of a girl, bitch, I told you, bitch, do you keep walking by that? Or do you say, whoa, 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 like, is it that serious? Like, or do you just have the mindset of mind your business? No, so, okay, in the first scenario, somebody breaking into my car, I'm not going to say anything to that person because you don't know what people would do. He might have a gun. He might hit me with a crowbar, like anything. I probably would tell security or something like that. I'm not going to call 911. I'm not gonna just leave. So I probably would tell security. In a situation where I see somebody like getting beat or hit or something like that, same situation. I know in domestic violence situations, and maybe I'm scarred from my childhood. I remember trying to help my mom when she was in situations and she would tell the police I was lying. So that kind of scarred me, where you never really know the direction something's gonna go in. Yeah, or you go to help somebody who boyfriend beating them up and they end up both beating you up. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in the way of danger. Now, if it's a kid, that's something different. But if it's an adult, I wouldn't just allow somebody to get hit without intervening in whichever way I felt safe for myself. Because guess what? Just like when the airplane going down, you got to put your oxygen mask on to help somebody else. I'm not jumping in front of the bullet to stop him from killing her. Now,
no,
my
I
husband
understand. I just
got
was
a
saying,
more
to
mid.
what extent, what scenario do you mind your business?
Batteries, I probably would not. If I seen a girl maybe like stealing some Pampers, I'ma think to myself, she got a baby at home. Formula, she got a baby at home. Batteries, I'm thinking, I can't imagine anything that's essential. Like, I just can't.
But that's not the first time that's happened to me. I saw a guy putting steaks inside his pants before, and I didn't. I looked at him and I just like act like I didn't see him.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything. And it's like, why didn't I offer to buy his food? He's still.
He just may have been in a different mindset. I recently
he took steaks out of the pack and was putting them in his pants. Like, that's some desperate shit. Like, why didn't it click to me to be like, yo, bro, if you really want the steak that bad.
Not
probably because it was already in his pants.
Probably so, but you just were in a different mindset. Like, you have grown since then. Not to add a fourth gram, but this is related. There was recently a post I seen where this girl was leaving a supermarket and it was a security guard. He was ginormous, so he really was just like holding the bag and not letting it go. And the girl's like, like pulling, and he's just standing there absolutely not letting it go. And people in the comments was like, it's just food. You don't know what she going through. He should have just let her go. Or it ain't your food. Why, the food is expensive out here. She might need to feed her family. So a lot of people in the comments was like, that's corny to stop her from, stealing food. It's a sad situation. So in that situation, if I seen somebody like trying to steal something, I might, offer. Now, if you stealing M&Ms, you're a dummy. I'm not offering to pay for your M&Ms, but... And no, if it's a kid, it's a different situation. Come on, come on, boo. Come on, little boy, whatever. Don't do that. I'll pay for them, but don't steal.
What would you do in that situation? How far would you go to mind your business in any of those scenarios? Would you say something? Would you buy somebody food if you saw them stealing? Would you buy somebody batteries if you saw them stealing? Would you tell? Don't know. Leave it in the comments. Act 2, the podcast, wrapping up. Episode 71. It's a wrap. You can catch us on Act2thepodcast.com. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on Instagram. Catch us on TikTok. Catch us on Breaker. Catch us on YouTube. Catch us on Google Podcasts. You can catch us on Breaker. I think I said that. You can catch us on Radio Public. You can catch us on Instagram. You can catch us on Twitter.
Tweet.
A little bluebird.
Tweet.
That's it. Act 2 the podcast, episode 71. That's a wrap. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.